Hey everybody, it's Austin Leverifon here. I'm in the youth room. Look at that, I'm in the youth room, but I'm here alone just because social distancing is still a very important factor of things that we're engaging in, not only here at McFarland, but you should be engaging in with your families and at home. I'm up here just because I needed to film a couple things for the youth worship tomorrow night, and while I was up here, I wanted just to kind of sit in this space. And as I sit here, I'm just reminded of all the times that we've been able to spend together Sunday mornings, Wednesday evenings, Sunday nights for confirmation, and I really miss those times as I sit in this space and I just kind of reminisce on those times. And I cannot wait for those times to be back together. But until then, we're apart, and that's okay. We'll get through this. With it being Holy Week, I thought I would turn my devotion to an aspect of Holy Week, and we're looking at the Gospel of John, which is a very interesting gospel. You know, if you're looking to read through the different accounts of Holy Week and see a completely different perspective that you might see in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, look to John. John's a very interesting gospel, very different than the other three. So we're looking today at John chapter 16, starting with verse 16. It says, "Sorrow will turn to joy." It says, "A little while you will no longer see me." This is Jesus saying. "And again in a little while you will see me." Then some of his disciples said to one another, "What does he mean by saying to us, 'A little while and you will no longer see me'? And again in a little while you will see me, and because I'm going to the Father?" They said, "What does he mean by saying this 'a little while' stuff? We do not know what he is talking about." Jesus knew that they wanted to ask him. So he said to them, "Are you discussing among yourselves what I meant when I said, 'A little while you will no longer see me, and again a little while you will see me'? Very truly I tell you, you will weep and mourn, but the world will rejoice. You will have pain, but your pain will turn to joy. When a woman is in labor, she is in pain, because her hour has come. But when her child is born, she no longer remembers the anguish because of the joy of having brought a human being into the world. So you have pain now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take your joy away from you." Now, there's a lot of things in this scripture that I think are kind of funny, right? Jesus knows that the disciples are asking these questions, and then kind of just confronts it and says, "You're wondering what I mean when I say these seemingly confusing things, don't you? Like, you're really perplexed at what I mean when I say a little while I won't be with you, and then again in a little while I'll be with you, and because I'm going to the Father." And the other thing is, you know, there's this reference to child labor, and that when a woman is in labor, she is in pain. And that when the hour is over, or however long the labor takes, the pain and the anguish is forgotten for the joy of having brought a human being into the world. Now, I can't attest or speak to that, nor will I ever be able to speak to that, because I don't plan on ever having a child. But, you know, I think as we look at the scripture, the biggest thing to take away here is that during this Holy Week time, we went through the triumphant entry into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. We've gone through this whole journey of Lent. I don't know about you all, but with everything going on, I've kind of lost sight that we were going through Lent together, just because of everything else going on. So being reminded that, you know, Lent, Palm Sunday leading into Maundy Thursday and Good Friday, we're coming up to this time to when Jesus is going to be crucified on Good Friday, when he leaves the disciples. And they feel this immense pain. They feel this immense loss. They grieve, and they're scared. They're fearful of what's to happen next. And they go off and they go into hiding. And their pain and their anguish seems so great. And as they endure it, I imagine it gets worse and worse, realizing the weight of what's just happened. But then what Jesus promises them is that again, in a little while, they will see him. And that when they see him, their sorrow will turn to joy. And that joy is nothing that can ever be taken away from them. You know, we look to Easter Sunday and the joy that comes in the risen Lord. And we think about how when Jesus rises, everything that means for us. That means that we are now free from our slavery to sin and shame. That means we are no longer in this constant struggle with the sin that withholds us from God. That grace from the grave that was left empty on Easter morning now washes over us. And that's the amazing part of this joy, because it can't be taken away. You know, no one can ever undo what Jesus did on Easter morning. No one can ever put him back into the grave. No one can ever reseal the tomb. No one can ever say that death and sin has won. So as we go through this week, and we go through the rest of Holy Week, when we come to Maundy Thursday, and we come to Good Friday, you know, there may be some points in our Holy Week journey that we are very aware of the pain that we might feel as followers of Christ. But then we come to Easter Sunday and we remember the resurrection and how all of that sorrow and anguish that we have felt is being called to turn to joy, and that Jesus is doing that in our lives. You know, a lot of the stuff that we're going through right now, probably personally and with your families during this time of quarantine and sheltering in place, feels pretty sorrowful. You know, I was talking to a group of students today, and they're just sick of it. You know, it's just they've come to the end of you know, being isolated, and you know, we feel this anguish, and we may even feel this sorrow for the situations that we're in. You know, I miss you all immensely. I cannot wait to see you all again. I can't wait to be in your presence and to share in that fellowship with you all. But I do know in the promise that one day, when this is all over and we gather again, gosh, can you imagine how amazing that's going to be? The joy that we will experience, and how the sorrow and anguish will just wash away. It'll just be gone because we'll be together. And until then, we still get to be together. You know, we have our Zoom calls at lunch for the middle schoolers, on Tuesday for the boys, Wednesdays for everybody, and then Fridays for the girls. We have high school small groups going on. I believe it's on, the girls might be happening on Monday now, but I think it's right now Tuesday and Thursday for the guys. We have Sunday school still, so we can still be together. But think about when we can actually be together in the physical presence of one another, and how much that's just going to be this overwhelming sense of joy. So the sorrow that you feel now is not meant to be forever. Just as the sorrow that we as Christians endure during the Good Fridays of life aren't meant to last forever, because we know that Sunday is coming. We know that resurrection is going to happen and restoration will come. So love you all, and I cannot wait to be with you all again and have my sorrow turn to joy. See you later. Bye.